I try to do like one of those stupid clever things where I saw like the camera's rolling, so I hide like off screen and stuff like that. But well, here we are anyway. Wasn't that a very useful part of like a few seconds? Anyway, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and this marks the end of the first day of Lent. Ash Wednesday is now in the past. And, well, let's say, to be honest, my life so far has barely changed, is the polite way of putting it. Apart from, well, quite a few things, actually. The first is that thankfully, my food poisoning debacle seems to have the bug is finally, it's finally out of my system. Thanks to excessive uses of paracetamol and of these little tablets that you literally could just get down at Boots and all that. That's more like paracetamol. These things called Imodium. Yep. Basically, they're very, very good for people who have like chronic diarrhea, because without wanting to give like too much away, ladies and gentlemen, I actually have a bit of a phobia of being sick. Like, I know it's coming, even though I feel like I know I'm gonna have to be sick out of my mouth. Physically, I almost have every single restraint to make sure it's not the case. Even in, some of those occasions where you feel like sick is coming into your mouth and stuff like that. No, I almost don't trust myself enough nowadays to literally get on my knees at the toilet and like, you know what I mean? I almost feel like physically like almost too scared to do that, because I'll almost be a bit afraid to see what would come out. So as a compromise, it all comes out in the other hole. Is the only way to put it. And no, not this one, or these two, or these two. So yeah, for the last couple of days has not particularly been very great. It's certainly not nearly as egregious as the 20th the fiasco. I don't even want to think about the 20th fiasco, because that, ladies and gentlemen, was the single worst day of my entire life, which really sets into motion actually how good my life actually kind of is, when that, of all days, I consider to be the single worst day of my life. For a point of reference, it was on my 20th birthday as well, so whatever it was, for what it was worth, happy birthday to me. God almighty, that was dreadful. So we'll go back to no meat, no drink, and I continue again. I still have yet to actually touch drugs. So again, don't drink, don't do drugs, don't eat meat. Again, some people might call that boring, but that's perfectly fine. I'm very, very talented, you know what I'm saying? But since the bug is working itself out of my system, it'll pretty much either be completely gone by tomorrow or by the day after. But what has become evident from this, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that I have lost weight rather considerably. I mean, you may have noticed that my AC/DC shirt has always been a bit baggy, I'll be honest, which is kind of nice, because I kind of like, it's just sort of like the look that the shirt kind of always had. But when I say baggy, I mean, this is a size XL shirt, and you could literally fit a second head in there, right there. And last time, okay, to give you some context as well, I've almost gone nearly 2 whole days without actually eating. In fact, the only thing I have eaten in the last 2 days is 2 vegan sausage rolls that I bought from Greggs, because, to be honest, at lunch today I was like so unbelievably famished that I knew I had to eat something. Oh, and also I've been drinking plenty of water in the meantime, because I think that's just, as a rule of thumb, it's just one of the things you have to keep on top of. Yeah. So, and all that, but the problem is that this afternoon, I basically, and throughout, ever since I got my license, I basically hit the wall hard. Only this time it was like about 2:30, where I was so cold in the office, in my place of work, that I had to, wear my jacket just to feel kind of warm. And it wasn't, trust me, it wasn't even lost on other members of staff, because they honestly, some of them, not all of them, were concerned about, my state of well-being and stuff like that. They asked me if, are you sure you don't just want to, like, take some fresh air or anything like that, or you just want to go sit upstairs somewhere and just take 10 minutes or something like that? I said no. I carried on like I usually do. Do you know also as well, the beginning of this week, it was the only time in nearly 3 years of being in work that I've actually had to call in sick. You wouldn't think that, but yeah. And this isn't even the first time I've been suspected of food poisoning. It was even roughly about 8 months ago when I was had issues with food poisoning, and I still came into work. I still carried on as I did. It meant having to make very frequent trips to the lavatory, granted, but still, I did it all the same. But this one was literally, it was just dreadful on every conceivable level. So, after feeling all worn out and just kind of not really sure what was going on for hours, finally managing to get home and actually make videos, and now finally about to get some sleep. I feel like, actually, when all is said and done, the first day of Lent is actually gone quite well. Doesn't sound like really it did it? But I mean, there were other things. But like, I applied for to be honest, I applied for Gladiators on the 3rd of January. But in the meantime, not only have I still been keeping myself at the gym, but also joined a wrestling academy. So that could always be something to they might be looking out for. Again, if I continue to sort of like purge myself, no, not purge, just if I eat sort of a lot less than just kept on top of it, then I could get myself down to maybe 14.5 in a couple of weeks' time, which is, it will be the lightest I would have been for very nearly 5 years, ladies and gentlemen. Would you believe that? And yeah, I'm looking out for it, you know what I mean? So yeah, another day gone, so to speak. And I'll see all of you guys again coming up very, very shortly. Take care, and bye-bye for now.